This Anthropology Project is about gender and the Whorf-Sapir hypothesis by Belle O'Keefe. In class, we discussed how language and culture greatly affects perception. As language differs among cultures, this then influences the opinions that people develop on various topics. This can alter attitudes and behaviors positively or negatively, and this is known as the Whorf-Sapir hypothesis. Examples of this hypothesis can be seen in Veiled Sentiments and also 2 videos that we will later discuss in the presentation. Linguistic anthropology is a combination of language, culture, behavior, and social organization. This is because language within cultures differs so immensely, which then changes how people act and the way that people are socially organized, all because of the language. Edward Sapir emphasizes this combination by saying, "We see and hear and otherwise experience very largely as we do because the language habits of our community predispose certain choices of interpretation." Language habits can affect how people think. The way that people think then affects if the idea about the certain topic is positive or negative. This is why language plays such an important role in our society. For instance, in Abu Lughdaud's Veiled Sentiments, it writes, "By exposing this other side of experience, individuals impress on others that their conformity to the code and attainment of the cultural ideas of personhood are neither shallow nor easy. It might be suggested that the greatest respect is accorded the person who, despite struggles with powerful vulnerabilities and passions, is a proper member of Alwad Ali society, a person with honor. In this society, their language should not expose powerful vulnerabilities and passions. Rather, it should stay strong and show that they are not dependent on anyone." This can be challenging for some, and it is seen in Veiled Sentiments that there are poems that do expose what they are overcoming from a day-to-day basis. However, in this society, it is very important that their language does not expose their feelings and their dependence. This is different from other societies, as in other societies, it is okay to express language that shows emotion and feeling. This is because in the Bedouin society in the western desert of Egypt, independence is an essential quality for both men and women. It is important to stay dependent and not to stay independent and not expose feelings, and that way that you keep your honor. Veiled Sentiments by Laila Abu Lughdaud has many examples of the Whorf-Sapir hypothesis. Beginning with linguistic genres. The difference between ordinary discourse and Gnawa is extreme in this society. In their ordinary discourse, which is typical, appropriate, and daily conversation, it is important to keep up respected characteristics like modesty, deference, denial of sexuality, and strength. However, in Gnawa, their traditional oral poetry, short poems expose the opposite of these respected characteristics and show expressions of intimacy. It reveals what the people overcome in everyday life by not being able to use their language to express this kind of feeling. An example of a poem reads, "Separation from intimates is hard. The heart dries up and the eye goes blind." This poem contains feelings that would never be said in ordinary discourse. However, in Gnawa, they are free to reveal how they feel. Furthermore, criticism of community members through language tells their people how not to act in society, as their language sends a negative feeling towards different actions, such as Rashir's inappropriate actions. Abu Lughdaud's book says, "The man, not simply a slave to his passions, compromises his independence by admitting dependence on a particular woman. This sign of weakness permits the proper power relations between the sexes to be reversed." Rashir is being criticized for saying that he is upset that his wife has left. As he is criticized for doing so, it shows an example of what not to do for other members of the community, as the language exposes the negative feelings that people have towards his attitudes. Finally, stories about mythical figures through their language also can affect how people act. There's a story about a son and a mother that still causes the belief that black veils are shameful. The story, summarized, ends with a good woman who is virtuous and obeys, and the bad woman in the book is sexual and deceitful. Therefore, people do not want to act as the bad woman who has a relation to this black veil. Therefore, black veils mean shame. In this video, how we talk about cancer, there's a discussion on how different words affect how patients and the public act when dealing with cancer. Commonly, the words battle, war, and fight are used to describe cancer. Battle is more of a personal way to describe it, while war is for collective enterprise in order to receive donations or more research, and a fight is a combination of these two ideas. However, studies show that these words can sometimes be inhibiting for the patients. This is because a battle involves winning or losing. While this can be motivating for some patients, for those who seem to be losing the battle or who know that they might not come out on top, this is very inhibiting, as they have to deal with the negative ideas that it's their fault that they cannot win the battle. Studies showed that there are alternate ways to describe cancer, and it varies from person to person. This is because language has such a great effect on different cultures and different people. Examples of these words are journey, harmony and disharmony, and unwelcome visitors. For some people, journey is a great way to discuss cancer because it's just another journey within that person's life. However, for some people, this does not work, as it does not push them enough to want to go on a journey. Another way of describing it is just unwelcome visitors within one's body, or harmony and disharmony within one's body. This helps the person be at peace with themselves and just accept the fact that they need to find a way to balance out the disharmony or the unwelcome visitors within themselves. The three stories that the Two-Spirit and LGBTQ health video discuss are Mick, Lane, and Ben. Mick, the roller derby champion, Lane the cyclist, and Ben the activist all have similar yet different stories. However, as a whole, the community just wants to be proud and accepted for their identity. And the best way to do this is for society to use language that has positive feelings towards the way that they want to identify themselves, rather than sending negative ideas towards the way that they feel. It shows how heavy of an effect that language does have on people and society, because people can use language that is very disrespectful, that then shows other people within the community that these forms of identification are not appropriate. However, other forms of language can support these people. Society needs to be educated and understanding, and it makes a huge difference in these people's lives. Correct language and pronouns are very, very helpful for these people. As a whole, language differs very greatly within different societies. However, language can be altered, as seen in the LGBTQ health and cancer videos. For both of these ideas, if language is used in a more positive tone that works better with certain people who are going through journeys or through identity changes, language can boost their feelings, can make them feel much better. However, language also can do the opposite. It is incredible how the Worf-Sapir hypothesis has such a great effect and how language has such a great effect on our cultures today.